Hello and welcome into Just Jets episode 282. What is going on? Matt O'Leary hanging out with you. Oh, it's been a busy week, Jets fans. Thank God we didn't record this episode early on Tuesday. No, we waited because the Jets got not one, but two contract extensions done. Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner's our New York Jets on 4-year extensions, and that kicks in after the 2 years are left on their rookie deals. So potentially over the next 6 years, both guys will be New York Jets. We can hope, we can pray. We're going to do that. We're going to get into your voicemails. We talked a lot the last 2 days, kind of just breaking down why Sauce Gardner got the contract that he did, why Garrett Wilson got the contract that he did from a value perspective, right? Like, yeah, Garrett Wilson was going to be somewhere around 4 for 120, goes a little higher than that, 4 for 130. The Sauce one being on the easier side because you take what Derek Stingley got and you beat that by a little bit, and that's what they did, 30 million versus 30.1 million. That stuff you kind of know, right? Like, this is how it's going to go. Like, the contracts were pretty much, we knew we were coming and knew in the range roughly of what they would be. But what I wanted to do was really talk about why this is franchise altering is what I put in the title of this episode. And well, yeah, like these guys were here already, and you know, it's not like they acquired a Sauce Gardner, they acquired a Garrett Wilson. This one's for Jet fans. If you're not a Jets fan and you're tuning in, you probably understand what it's like because you've had a really good player drafted in the first round, get signed to an extension and play like 12 years for your organization and be really good. But that just doesn't really happen for the New York Jets, at least not recently. Like, Darrelle Revis goes to the Hall of Fame. That's a recent Jet who's in the Hall of Fame. He was drafted in 2007, which is 18 years ago now, which is insane to think of that, but it's the truth. So 18 years ago, where someone was drafted by the Jets, but unlike Garrett and Sauce, they ended up having, and for now at least, they ended up having to trade Darrelle Revis, and Darrelle Revis won a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. And I love Darrelle. He's, you know, I think the best all around Jet. Namath was most impactful and most important Jet, but just from a talent perspective and at the top of his game, his peak, I think what we saw from Darrelle Revis makes him the best Jet, but that's besides the point. The point being here is, like, look at the last, God, how many draft classes where they just don't have these players that you want to sign and commit to. Zach Wilson, they trade away. Sam Darnold, they trade away. Jamal Adams, they trade away. Leonard Williams, they trade away. They don't sign guys like Darren Lee because he stinks and is out of the league. They don't sign guys like Quentin Coples or, Dean Milner, like Mekhi Becton. Misses and question marks where these are two very clear hits, and we knew they were hits in year one when Sauce Gardner won Defensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, and away we go. The rest is history. I talked about it in the Garrett reaction video. When did the Jets have weapons like this that they draft and are homegrown? Every time, like even Curtis Martin, one of my all-time favorite Jets, I think he is a top, Mount Rushmore Jet. He started his career, he wasn't drafted by them. He was a Patriot first. He only came over in 98. He came with Parcells, which was awesome, but he wasn't drafted here. They had that one, and it's a 1 year of Brandon Marshall at like a random, Brandon Marshall was like 30, 31 when that happened. It wasn't like, oh my God, the Jets drafted someone like Brandon Marshall and had him for 15 years and he's putting up these unbelievable numbers. The Jets went almost 10 years without having a 1,000-yard receiver. Think of all the misses that they've had at that position. From, just Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, Chad Hansen, Ardarius Stewart, Stephen Hill, Devin Smith. They are so inept at finding franchise guys. And, you go back to early 2000s, Lavernius Cole, Santana Moss, Jericho Cotchery, good players, very good players and good Jets and on winning teams and important players in their history. But I don't know if we were ever talking about those guys as potential top 10 wide receivers in the NFL at any points of their career. And again, useful, really, really good players. And it's not meant as a diss to those three guys. It's talking about just how rare it is for the Jets to have a talent like this. And on the same thing with the defensive side of the ball, for Sauce Gardner, 2 years, first 2 years in the league and All-Pro, takes a small bit of a step back. But to me, this shows that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are going to do things a little bit differently. They're not going to wait too long. Quinnen Williams, the Jets waited about as long as possible before they could sign him to his contract extension. And he's a stud. We're happy that Quinnen Williams is here. But they were proactive for a change. They didn't wait until Terry McLaurin gets his contract and then the Jets got to pony up even more money to Garrett Wilson. They didn't, wait for another year, be like, oh, well, Sauce really got to prove it in year 4. And then he's getting $38 million a year next year when the cap goes up and someone else gets paid an insane amount of money. It's fair value guys for, fair value players for good, fair value contracts for good players. God, why was that so hard for me to say there? But it was. Just, again, come away really impressed with what the Jets did here. It's making a statement for Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn. And, we could talk all the offseason things. And the next step now is that it has to transition and you have to get better on the field. They're doing the little things right. They are signing and keeping their young talent. They're not giving up on young talent. And now the coach has to prove that he can coach at this level. That's the next step. We could be, and we are, or should be at least, excited about what the Jets are doing now and how I think they're handling these things right with Sauce and Garrett. And now the thing that we turn the page to is, okay, show me the next thing, which is take it to the football field and prove that you're a good coach. But we don't have back-to-back days like this with Sauce and Garrett Wilson getting signed very often for Jets fans. And it's something that Jet fans should enjoy because sports are supposed to be fun, number one. And we've just been through so much shit and absolute garbage forever with this team as they're in the midst of the longest active playoff drought in professional sports. So, yeah, enjoy the Sauce and Garrett Wilson extensions. Both are incredibly well-deserved. Very happy for them. Let's get to voicemails this week. We got a few to get to. We're going to get started with Eric in Brooklyn. Wants to talk some Justin Fields.
Hey, Matt. What's going on? Eric here from Brooklyn. I appreciate you taking my call. I have a question, but just want to say how much I appreciate you just covering the Jets over this summer and, you giving your unbiased opinions and just keeping it real, honestly. I love coming to your channel, win, lose, every season, off season. I honestly watch you more than any major New York sports network that talks about, whether it's the Islanders or the Jets, end season, of course. But I just want to give you a shout out on there and just let you know how much I appreciate your channel and you doing this podcast and giving your thoughts and opinions and allowing us to have a voice. But my question to you is, what do you think about Justin Fields' development is going to be looking like this season? I tried to dissect your video on Mason Taylor, and I think you did a great job of giving your thoughts on that. And I wasn't excited about Justin Fields at first, but I'm starting to have a little bit of change of heart. Just seeing, the direction direction of our new coaching staff is going. Aaron Glenn, he's been killing it so far, and I like Steve Wilkes. I do like Tanner Amstring and how he's going to use our running backs and tight ends more, because we really haven't had a dominant tight end or a really good receiving tight end in a very long time. Dustin Keller was the last tight end that was really good, and that was a long, long time ago. So I don't know. I just wanted to know your thoughts on Justin Fields. Again, my thoughts on him is slowly, changing. At first I wasn't happy, but I'm starting to have a little bit of change of heart because of just hearing, what he's doing in camp and everything. So, as always, go Jets.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate the kind words. It means a lot that, people, want to tune into the work that I do. I put a lot into it. So it means a lot when you guys check out my work. But with the Justin Fields comments here, there's so much variance with Justin Fields, and whether the people who are way super pro Justin Fields or the ones who are so negative Justin Fields want to admit it, there is a lot that could happen this year. We've seen flashes where he's looked really, really good, and there are few who can do the things with his legs in the NFL at the quarterback position that he can. At the same time, you have to look at where he's been so far in his career as a passer. Now, to his credit, I think he's improved each year a little bit each time, but he's never started a full 17-game season yet. So that's kind of step one, right? Like, if you want to prove that you're the guy, you gotta play. I don't want to see 12 games. He has to miss 5 games because gets banged up or gets benched for Tyrod Taylor, whatever the case may be. What he needs to improve at, and what would make me start to buy in on Justin Fields being the long-term answer, a few things. Not taking as many sacks, doing a better job going through his progressions, better over the middle of the field, and just a little bit more decisive. And I guess that kind of goes back to, the going through the progressions and the sacks. Like, sometimes watching him, it just kind of feels like he's second guessing himself a little bit. But the Jets staff and front office have put their stock into him and given him every single opportunity to earn this job and keep it for a long time. He has the best offensive line that he's ever had in the league. He has arguably the best wide receiver that he's played with so far. If you want to say DJ Moore, fine, but I would say, okay, similar tier wide receiver maybe at that point. You have a good running back in Breece Hall, and you like what you saw last year with the 2 rookie running backs. There's no excuses. Like, this is your time. And if he comes out and he looks like a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, then yeah, the Jets are probably going to keep him around. Then they won't have to draft someone in 2026. But that's really what I want to see from him. I'll get into later in the summer or right before the start of the season, I guess. I'll give my final full predictions on, record and player stats and wins and losses and all that good stuff. But I think there's a chance we could see Justin Fields be okay for the Jets. That's where I'm at right now. I think he's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to look like the 30th best quarterback in the NFL, but I also don't think he's going to look like, an obvious top half of the league guy. I think it'll vary week to week, and it'll be somewhere in between that. And even if he's somewhere in between that, that should result in some more wins for the Jets this year. Let's go to Jay up next. He's got a question.
Matt, my name is Jay. Where you get that shirt from? Is the Jets emblem with Glenn's name on it? I want one of them. Call me, man.
Got you, man. Right down below. You can see it. It's linked down below in the video. It's from my store, MattO'LearyNY.com. I don't push it a lot, and I don't do a ton of merch. I'm more of a content creator than I am a guy who's out here trying to sling merch, but I do have some, and if you want to support me, support the show, if there's a design that you like, pick something up from the store, Matt O'Leary NY. I appreciate the question, Jay, and hope you pick up a Glenn, an AG shirt, as I call them. Okay, PG from Long Island. What do we got?
Hello, Matt O'Leary. PG from Long Island here.
Hello,
Thank you
sir.
for taking my call, and congratulations on
what sounds like a successful bachelor party weekend.
Thank you, man. That's fun.
And on top of it, the Jets waited until Monday to sign Wilson. They didn't even get interrupted, so good for you.
That was a win.
As we head into training camp, I want to talk about a couple of the positions that I feel the Jets need shoring up. Quarterback, I don't know how good that room is, but obviously it is what it is, and we're not going to be changing it this year. But safety, wide receiver, interior defensive line, and the edge, all areas that I think could use a little help. And, this time of year, a trade is unlikely. And I think in most cases, the free agents out there are not a fit. And, so probably wait. And, when the cuts are made at the end of the preseason, whether it's a waiver wire or depending on the situation, a veteran free agent that they pick up, probably the way they're going to go. But the one area where there are free agents that seem to be a fit would be the edge. And you talked about it on a YouTube a couple of weeks ago. And here's the thing. The Jets have Will McDonald. They have Johnson coming off a serious injury. But beyond that, very little depth, a lot of question marks. Last year's free agents, this year's later draft pick. Clemens is still on the roster. So they don't really have much depth. But out there, the free agents have Devarian Smith. He's the most interesting one. Clowney, Preston Smith, and even some others. Devarian Smith is the really puzzling one because he seems like he'd be a fit. Glenn knows him well. But the question is this. If these guys that they're hoping step up do not do it, do you see where they might actually sign a free agent edge rusher during training camp? Anyway, that's it. Once again, Matt O'Leary, congratulations. And as always, go Jets.
Thank you so much for the call. Really appreciate it. I have a few thoughts on that. You're right. Like, there aren't a ton of free agents left where you're going, oh my God, that's a no-brainer. They absolutely have to do that. But the Jets have added guys late before in relatively recent history. I mean, like Dalvin Cook, and I'm not saying all of them worked out, but Dalvin Cook, Morgan Moses, Dwayne Brown were all pretty late in the offseason additions. And like, these guys are going to eventually sign somewhere. I don't think we're going to get to a point where like a Jadeveon Clowney, for example, is sitting out there and still a free agent and not signed. Eventually, whether it's injuries or just guys not performing in training camp, if that's the Jets' mindset on this, where it's like, let's see what we have. Let's go into training camp with the group, and then you watch, a week of practices of the rotation at edge behind Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald, and you can start sweating a little bit. Then yeah, maybe they do. There is a world where they pull the trigger on adding someone, but if they are to do it, and I know like you went through and brought up a few different spots where I think they could use some help, edge is the one that I personally think makes the most sense for them to add. Let's go to Vic from Florida up next.
Yo, Maddie. Vic from Florida, man. Long time no talk. Hope you guys are enjoying your summer. We're right around the corner. Training camp. Hey, I'm an optimistic Jet fan. This is it. I got a good feeling about it this year. I know as of recent videos, we're still kind of, teetering, but I'm bought in. I'm bought in, but I want to tell you why. After watching the NFL for a couple years, I think we are going to see a movement where we're going back to a little bit of old school ground and pound, right? We always talk about it.
Yes,
Aaron
sir.
Glenn, that's his identity. Okay, we're building through the offensive line, right? Got a trio of running backs, can pound the rock. Obviously, Justin Fields, very talented with his legs. But I want to know your thoughts, right? Last year, at the beginning of the year, we saw the scores of games drastically go down. Teams aren't throwing the ball 79 times a game and scoring 4,000 points in the first couple weeks, right? I think the NFL is changing, all right? They're catching on to the fact that the defenses have gotten smaller to compensate to get speed to cover, these wide receivers, teams throwing the ball all around the field. Now, you flip the script, offense is going to get a little bit bigger, kind of run downhill, and I think we have the right personnel to do that. What are your thoughts on that? Also, congrats on G-Dub getting the bag. Let's hope he doesn't take his foot off the gas pedal. No pun intended. Sir. I don't see that happening. I think he's a humble cat. I think he's going to have a great year, right? And again, the ground and pound could open it up for him, right? I'm very optimistic. I'm thinking north of 8 wins. All right, if we get that, look.
Hey.
How do we sound? North of 8 wins, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl or something. But hey, man, I'm optimistic, right? And looking forward to a great year, healthy year. And again, I hope all is well. Appreciate all the content. And JETS, Jets, baby, let's go.
Love it. Thank you so much for the call. It's so funny, right? Like, I think Jets fans would be thrilled if they won 8 games this year, and the rest of the league's gonna be like, what? What are these guys celebrating? Like, yeah, okay, they took a little bit of a step forward, but it's like, no, we've been through the ringer, man. Have not had an 8-win or more season since the year 2015. 7 wins or less every year since. That's a very good point. The Jets, with their quarterback and their running back room and their offensive line, the reason why I talk about them being such a run-heavy team so often is because look at how the roster is built. It would be silly for them to go, this is what our roster looks like, and now we're going to turn around and throw the ball 45 times a game. Like that, the math isn't mathing on that. You feel me? But you're right, with defenses and how they've been built and how teams have been playing, there has been more of an emphasis on running the football. Look at Philadelphia. Look at Baltimore. Those are 2 teams who, are really, really good and went very far this year. They've won because of defense and their rushing attack. And you still need a good quarterback. I'm not saying, you could go full 2009 Jets Mark Sanchez. No disrespect to, year 1 Mark Sanchez, but I don't know how that works in this era of the league. But if the Jets are going to win games this year, if they do get to that 8+ win mark that Vic kind of lays out there, what they're going to have to do is win ugly. It might not be pretty, but I don't give a shit. I really don't care if they're winning games 17-16, 20-14. Maybe the offense explodes and they win 24-10, something like that. But they're going to win games by running the football, playing good defense, having a good special teams, winning the turnover battle. Those cliches, but it's the truth. They're not going to be able to go against the Baltimore, against the Buffalo, against the Cincinnati and get into a shootout and win a game 35-34. That's not how this Jets team is built. So if they're winning games, it's going to be because they're playing really good defense and they're winning, tight, low-scoring games. They need good coaching for that. Let's close with Peter. My poor guy, Peter from Hudson Valley. He called in like 10 times this week, but kept getting new information, whether it was the Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson extension, or other things. So, all right, let's get to it. Let's hear from our guy, Peter, from the beautiful Hudson Valley to close us out.
Hey, Matt. It's Peter calling from the beautiful, hot Hudson Valley on this Tuesday afternoon. I don't know if this will make tomorrow's show or not at this point, because I know I've already called in several times. But Swaggy Sauce got paid. G-Dubs got paid. Can't be any more excited right now. Let's effing go. God, it's so nice to actually see this team, the New York Jets, sign their own young drafted talent to second contracts. Quinnen Williams now. Michael Carter II. Damian Sherwood this offseason. Now Garrett and Sauce getting paid. Holy cow. Now maybe Jermaine next year. Who knows? Once his, they've exercised his 5th-year option. Hopefully has a bounce-back season after the Achilles. Maybe AVT. Maybe others, that we start signing. Your bookend tackle for those same type of contracts and keep this thing going. What great news. Forget my previous calls about that stuff. I'll do that next week.
That's fine.
Top moments in Jets history at this point. This is a top moment right now. July 14th and July 15th, 2025. Mark it down. Top moments in Jets history. We have actually signed our own players. We've kept our own players. Woo! Go Jets!
That's a great way to end this show, to go full circle, right? We started the episode by talking about how important it is for this team and for this franchise to, you know, like I said, have an opportunity to have players like Sauce and Garrett and then sign them and keep them. This is what good teams do. So we should be celebrating that. I don't know, Breece Hall, AVT, John Simpson, those are names that are going to get talked a lot about right now. I think let's see what they're in season, what the Jets are looking like and how they're playing. Maybe you get a John Franklin Myers like in season extension there. I think that could be the move. I don't know if they're going to want to pay both guards or not. I would love to keep them both, assuming health and that they play well. But they might have to make a tough decision. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. As Peter's saying, it was a good couple back-to-back days for the New York Jets. Very, very happy on the state of this team right now. That'll do it for me in this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new to the show, and I'll catch you next time.